Welcome back to Artisans at Home. So we continue on with Ben Rongen, who was a filmmaker and architect who was specializing in 15th century, in turning 15th century ship porcelain from shipwrecks into fashion accessories and jewelry. Yeah. So Ben, over to you.
Great, thank you. I can still see you, David.
You can start, Ben.
Okay,
Yeah.
hi.
So,
Seems to be working now. Okay. Thanks everyone for joining. I'm Ben Rongen. Our product brand is Ben Rongen brand. It's basically as David described, we work with ceramics from a 400-year-old shipwreck, the One Lee shipwreck. Uh, we don't destroy artifacts, of course. These are already pulverized and smashed by fishing boats, which I'll tell you a little bit more about as we go along. First of all, I'd like to say thank you very much to Joe and the team, David, Marissa. Uh, Fantastic sessions this week. I've watched most of them and they've been very good. And, very thankful for all the effort you guys have put in for us, especially during this times of the COVID crisis. Our normal sales in terms of outlets and to tourists are non-existent now and haven't been for about a year. So having an opportunity to showcase and sell our product online in the near future when we launch is fantastic. Also great to be part of this group. It's fantastic artisans here on Penang, and I've met a lot of them, and they're all great people and very talented. So I feel very proud to be part of that group. So again, thank you very much. Okay, just a little bit of background. I won't go into too much background as I'm 64, so I've had a few jobs over the years. But just to flash back to when I'm 18 years old. In 1974, I decided I was going to start my nursing training. So I actually became a registered nurse. In Australia, you refer to when you're qualified as a sister. So I was actually Sister Ben at some point. I've also have done my midwifery. I've delivered babies. Later on, I get bored quite quick, so I move on to other things, and I became a clinical specialist in anesthetics. Worked in the operating theatres for a number of years. Later on, I moved into community health and became a clinical specialist in adolescent health and worked with teenagers and high schools and with all sorts of things, drug and alcohol programs, and sex education, counselling. Oh, it goes on forever. I also started making short films with young people. We were set up those days by Peter Weir, the film director, who taught us how to make short films and teach young people how to make short films. Cut a long story short again, 1994, I decided to come to Malaysia to join the Rakan Muda program and to teach film to young people here in Malaysia. Did that for about 2 years, and Rakan Muda somehow disappeared. Started my own production house and continued to make videos and films for a number of years, about 15 years. Everything from corporate documentaries, television commercials, music videos, you name it, we did it. 2002, moving along, I decided I was bored of doing grill cream commercials and yada yada, and wanted to make a documentary for History Channel. And I found a very interesting topic, and that was Stan Sjöstrand, Nanhai Marine Archaeology, a Swedish archaeologist looking for shipwrecks here in Malaysia. I started that project in 2002. 6 months into the project, Stan discovered the One Lee shipwreck off the east coast of Terengganu in 40 meters of water. That was it. I just stuck like glue for the next couple of years while they were doing the excavation, all the work, and the video continued. But for me, it became a passion to be part of that whole adventure. Sadly, One Lee shipwreck, which was a Portuguese ship coming back from China, laden with late Ming Dynasty blue and white, and you can see some of it behind me, and I will show some other pieces a little bit later. Basically, between 80 and 90% of all the cargo was destroyed. Now, we think initially possibly the ship was sunk by the Dutch because 1625, the Dutch and the Portuguese were at war, and the Dutch was trying to sink as many ships as possible on the east coast so they wouldn't make it back to Malacca. They're trying to discourage them. Becoming a history lesson now. Never mind. So anyway, also the other problem is that there was we think a lot of destruction happened at the sinking of the ship, maybe an explosion on board. Subsequently, the ship lay on the bottom, and over the last maybe 40 years or so, the fishing boats, many fishing boats who are dragging their nets on the bottom, literally go through and smash everything. They drag away the wood, they smash the ceramics, and basically 80% of what was on board in terms of the ceramic was destroyed. I mean, you know, obviously some pieces more so than others, and I'll show you a little bit more about that later. For me, yes, well, the beauty of the ceramic is still there, whether it's broken or not. I mean, these are all hand-painted pieces and have a history 400 years old. Whether it's intact or broken, it's still a piece of history. But what do you do with the several thousand kilos of broken pieces of ceramic, right? So I started making some jewelry out of pieces, and my friends loved it. And one thing led to another, and 17 years later, I'm still making jewelry. We're running a little bit low now on the ceramics because, I mean, it's not going to last forever. We sold a lot to China. The Chinese want to buy back their own history, including the intact ones. So that's a little bit of background as to how I got started in this. I continue to work with Stan and Nanhai Marine Archaeology. Sadly, Stan has passed away now, and we are actually taking over the company, and we will be continuing to look for more shipwrecks on the east coast of Malaysia. We have 9 shipwrecks so far. So the oldest one, Sung Dynasty, 1,000 years old. We have 4 from early Ming, 1370, 80, 1390, 1460. These are green celadons. The list goes on. I don't have time to tell you all. Anyway, I'll just a little bit more about the background in terms of the work that we do in the archaeology. We work together with the Malaysian government. We finance everything. We do the work, we do the archaeology, we do the search, we do the excavation, but we share with the Malaysian government the ceramics that we actually excavate. So a percentage goes to Museum Negara and a percentage goes to us, which we then are able to sell and refinance for the next survey, the next search, so for the next excavation. All right, let me just have a quick look at my notes here. So maybe at this point, David or Marissa, whoever's pushing the buttons there, we can have a look at that short video about the One Lee shipwreck. And there we go. So I think I can talk over the top of this one, if you can hear what I'm saying. We seem to have jumped into the a little bit into the video, but never mind. It's this is working on the bottom. It's at 40 meters deep, so we can only get half an hour bottom time while we do the work, and it's archaeology, so 1 square meter at a time. We do this very systematically. This is putting the markers for measuring up and for later research purposes. Here we can actually see some of the wood, which was actually under the sand. The only wood we found was literally under the sand. Some of the keel boards or the bottom of the ship. Some of the ceramics actually under the sand was actually still in good condition. So you will see some pieces later that were intact, but as I said, 90% or 80 to 90% was destroyed. Here you can see this is how we find the ship wreck. There is no ship, it's just a pile of ceramic. and that one little brown fish that keeps following us around. So yeah, basically we brought up everything, including all the broken pieces, the ballast stones, the wood, everything was looked at. This is decompressing. At 40 meters, we need 55 minutes to resurface. So the full dive is an hour and a half, and we do two of those per day each dive. And we have about 10 divers for about 4 months of the year, which is the only time we can actually do the work. As you can see, it's a bit Rambo style, old fishing boat converted that we sleep on the decks at night. And yeah, it's not a luxury cruise. It's hard work, but it's very rewarding and very exciting, especially when these baskets come up with all these rare pieces of ceramics, you know, stuff that's been sitting there for 400 years, you know. There's an intact one, well, one intact and one not so. There we are. This is actually one that's has the two ducks, and in Chinese, the Peking duck, which mate for life. So it's happy augury or happy marriage, with the 4 peach flowers around the rim, the pearls, 8 panels of pearls and 4 panels of auspicious symbols. Everything is in multiples of 8. This is the late Ming Dynasty during the reign of Emperor Wan Li. And that's thus the shipwreck is called the Wan Li shipwreck. We don't know the name of the ship. That's the Lingzi bowl, and there's a butterfly bowl. These are some intact ones. This was actually one of the rarest pieces when it was clean. It was a cafe au lait. It had both brown and blue and white with an octopus inside. Lunch. As you can see, we're bringing up baskets here. They're clean, they're classified, categorized, registered, and basically go to the warehouse for desalination, and again for classification, registration, and eventually sharing with the museum. Okay, that was the video. Yep. I'm not sure whether I was talking over that video, David. People, were they able to listen to me talk? Never mind.
Yeah. Ben, yeah, they can hear you. They all hear you. Yeah.
You got that part of the story. That's great. All right, good stuff. As I said, we've actually excavated 9 shipwrecks for Stan and the team, and me in the last 15 or 17 years, including a Dutch ship, the Race Dam, and the latest one that we found was, we called it the Desaru because we found it near the town of Desaru on the east coast, and that was 1830, a Qing dynasty ship. Anyway, back to the Wan Li shipwreck. As I said, it's 1625, so in another 4 years, it'll be 400 years old. The jewelry we make from the broken pieces, and I'll just demonstrate some of the pieces that we would use for jewelry. So smaller pieces like this, you know what I mean? It's like they're already smashed, but they have beautiful motifs. This is a lotus and a peach flower. So these can be shaped and cut. I have a special tool that is used for trimming the ceramic. Basically, if I want to just, it cuts sort of straight lines. So basically, snap a straight line across. So I can actually roughly cut into shapes that I want, and then eventually I grind them on a grinding wheel. It's a wet grinding wheel because ceramic is incredibly hard, and it gets very, very hot when you grind it. Sparks fly off, so literally water is dripping on the wheel the whole time. Some of the pieces when they're cut, basically, if I have a piece, sometimes I take the piece and then roughly cut around the edge. This one has a template on top, so the motif is behind already, but at this point I will grind on the grinding wheel to make it perfectly circular or whatever shape I choose to make. and that would be something like the finished product. So that's from the Lingza bowl. We have some other very interesting ones. This has one of the 8 immortals, the one with the fat stomach. I think it's Iron Crutch Lee. Can make himself disappear, apparently. This bowl, if it was intact, 8-sided, very small, probably sold for around 40,000 ringgit if it's intact. So there you go. A full plate that looks something like this. Okay, this is actually a printout. It always has 4 peach flowers and basically some panels around the edge, which are repetitive motifs, and usually the center of the plate will be generally a rock with a bird or a cricket and some peony flowers. So this is a scene of nature and spring, which means it's heralding spring, which is post-winter, and it's new beginnings. Just to show you some other pieces. I mean, okay, just now in the video on the shipwreck, you saw the plate with the 2 ducks, and this is one of them, but sadly smashed. But the center medallion is in perfect condition. I won't cut this one. I won't cut this. This is a beautiful piece, and it will stay the way it is. And I probably don't want to sell this one either. These all become my babies. So the big ones like this definitely don't get cut. They get kept. Some pieces though, they don't all come up beautiful blue and white. Some of them come up like this with shells stuck on them and all sorts of things. So we need to clean those, and there is a method to that, which I won't go into. It's a lot of detail. Sometimes we have a plate like this where only just a little bit of the rim is left, and because we do sell them, and people, especially Chinese, don't feel that feng shui is very good, so I can actually cut them into because the foot ring is intact, and this is what we call a medallion. Obviously not jewelry, but very nice to put your teapot on top, or mount, or just keep as an artifact. Another one that's been cut, ready for grinding. This is rather beautiful. It's a vase with the flowers and some rocks with the holes in it, which shows impermanence. Every motif has a meaning. Everything tells a story. Some of the bowls, this is one of the quite rare ones with the 8 immortals around the edge. So there's 2 of them. One is Lu Tong Ping, he's the only one, Iron Crutch Lee. We don't know who they are by their faces, but we know by what they carry. One carries a lotus, one carries a sword, one has a flute. And as you can see, the symbols around there are all the So characters. So meaning long life, and then lotus flowers along the rim. And there's some So characters in my ring, and that's exactly what it came from. As you can see, there's some writing on the bottom, and some of the bowls actually have rain marks, which actually have the emperor's name on the bottom. Strangely enough, there was no rain marks on this ship which said 1 Li, because they are not allowed to use the present emperor's name unless it's for the emperor. So we get Hong Wu, Cheng Hua, Jia Jing. We have 5 different emperors on one shipwreck. They should have all said 1 Li, but they didn't. So there you go. A little bit more interesting information. Let me have a quick look at what
Ben, sorry to interrupt. Just a question. Yep. You're on the subject of the emperor. So the marks that you showed just now, the emperor's mark, does that mean that the porcelain were made only because they're sanctioned by the emperors themselves?
No. Well, by right, if it has
item for export at the time.
Correct. If it has the emperor's name on the bottom, by rights, it's supposed to be imperial wear for the emperor. but because it was export ware and the Portuguese were exporting it, they wanted something written on the bottom. They probably didn't even know what it meant and thought this is the artist's name, but it's actually, it says made in the Great Ming Dynasty during the reign of Emperor Hongwu Chenghua Jiajing,
Yeah.
One Li. So we can put Tun Mahathir, but we cannot put Muhyiddin. You understand? That's
Yes.
the way it works.
Yeah.
But if you were to find this bowl in an antique shop, and chances are if it's in an antique shop, it's fake anyway.
Right.
It's actually, if it says Chenghua, that means 150 years earlier, but actually it's 1625. So this does not tell you how old the piece is. It's always newer.
Right.
If you can find a real piece in an antique shop, which is very doubtful. Everything that's sold either through us or through Nanhai Marine Archaeology is verified, comes with certification, 1,000% money back guarantee that it's genuinely from a shipwreck.
Yeah.
There are books.
That's advice for everyone: beware of fakes.
Oh, absolutely, and the fakes are fantastic. Look, if you can pick one up for next to nothing, it looks fantastic, and you love it, buy it. But don't spend big money on it. I mean, you know, there are factories in China that can produce stuff that we have trouble differentiating between the real and the fake. And a lot of them in China are not actually made as fake, they're just reproductions. It's just that unscrupulous buyers go there, buy the stuff, bring it back to their antique shop in Europe or Malaysia or wherever and sell it as the real thing. So, I mean, when you go to China and go to the antique markets, they're all new. I mean, you can buy a Tang Dynasty horse there for 20 ringgit. I did. I love it. But everybody knows it's not real, but it's only when you stick it in your antique shop and you try and sell it as a fake, that's the wrong thing to do.
All right. Thank you, Ben. Do continue with your presentation.
Sure. Maybe at this point we can show that short video which shows some of the motives, where they come from and which parts of the plate. Would that be possible? It's coming. Stop on our end.
Whoop, yeah, I think got stuck a little bit.
Never mind. I think that will do. It's okay. I'm
It's
back.
like 1-2 seconds before the end.
It's fine. No problem. Just to give some an idea where which parts of the plates or the bowls that some of these motifs come from. As I said, the interesting thing is the actual meaning behind the motifs, and we will show you some in just a moment. But some of the classics that we see a lot, and it's quite repetitive, is the peach flower, which is prosperity and good luck. Things like the gourd bottle, the swastika, the linza mushroom, which is longevity. The lotus flower, which is purity, or as they say, from the black mud grows a perfect white flower, untainted. So yeah, you with a good heart and a good soul also can rise above it all. So every motive, everything that we see painted on these particular ceramics, especially from this time period, they all have a meaning. Yeah. So I'm now being nudged here to show the PDF file, but yes, I was going to do that once I got through talking what I was talking about. So maybe that's what we'll do. You can put up the PDF file, and then we can have a look at some of the motifs and some of the pieces of jewelry that we create from them. Yep, that's my name. Okay, can you show the next one? I'll just call you next. Just in terms of, this is just one of the articles written for the one of the magazines, one of many over the years. So as I said, it's China is very, very interested in their own history, and they're looking to buy back a lot of the actual ceramics, especially the intact ones, are being sold back to China. Excuse me. A number of museums have bought collections from us, which are now in the Shanghai Museum, Guangzhou, Beijing, and they're looking at setting up a complete maritime museum dedicated to Stan Shostran and the work that he's done. Sadly, Stan passed away 6 months ago, but he's left a wealth of information. All right, next slide, please. Okay, this was actually KL Fashion Week some years ago. We worked with a designer called Rizwan, who did a range of beautiful, beautiful fashion items in terms of clothing, which basically used the motives from the Wan Li shipwrecks, and obviously the accessories that you're seeing here, the bracelet, the necklace, are things created by me. This was a rather large necklace that weighed about half a kilo, but looked spectacular during the show. So this is the peach flower and symbolizes good luck and springtime and marriage. Yeah, next one, please. And there we go, a few more of the models. Some you can't quite see what they're wearing in the way of jewelry, but they're all wearing some of our jewelry. The motif here is the lingzi and the rui. This bowl have both the lingzi mushroom and the rui, which is again to do with longevity and may your dreams come true, and as I said, yeah, symbol of longevity. Next, please. This one is one of my favorites, the Artemisia leaf. That's you see in the center of the medallion there and in the jewelry. It's actually one of the things carried by one of the immortals, and in the hand of the immortals, he can raise the dead, and also used as a form of prophecy. They read the leaves. It's like reading tea leaves. Somehow they're able to foretell future with this particular leaf. All right, next. What do we have here? The swastika. The swastika was originally a Hindu sign, then it became a Buddhist sign. It's actually also refers to the heart of Buddha. It's also seen in the footprint of Buddha, and obviously it was later turned around the other way and used by some idiot in Germany, which didn't bring him a whole lot of luck. Next, please. What do we have here? The fly whisk. Okay, once again, the fly whisk is one of the things carried by one of the 8 immortals. Again, it symbolizes compassion. The reason is that as a Buddhist, you're not even supposed to kill a fly. So using a fly whisk, you will chase the fly away. But in the hands of one of the 8 immortals, it actually can restore people back from the dead. It has magical powers. So yes, everything has a story. Next, please. This is also one of my favorites. This is the lotus flower. This particular bowl had the budding lotus, the flowering lotus, and a seeding lotus. It's one of the only flowers that do all 3 at once. Again, it's as I said, it symbolizes purity, and it's an emblem of summer, fertility, steadfastness, prosperity, but most of all purity. As I mentioned earlier, from the black mud grows the perfect white flower, untainted. Okay, next, please. We have some earrings. At this point, I should mention that some of our jewelry, exclusive range is set in silver. It's all handmade in silver. It's 925 silver. And we have another range, our classic range, which is without silver. So it's not actually encased. So again, it's about affordability as well. Each piece, I just mentioned now before I forget, each piece has a serial number engraved into the silver, and even the pieces without silver have a serial number. Each piece comes with a certificate of authenticity and a serial number, so, and a certificate, obviously. So this is to prove basically that's where it came from, and it's also our money back guarantee. We're willing to give 1,000% money back guarantee because every piece we sell is from the shipwreck. Next, please. Oh, sorry, the one just before were lotus flowers. This is a part of our exclusive collection, as I said, set in silver, and obviously comes with some accessories in silver. This happens to be the peony flower painted in reverse. So the background is blue and the flower is white. One of the first examples of reverse painting in blue and white. And as I said, set in 925 silver. Next, please. We also do rings. Just to mention it here, we do a range, as I say, especially in silver. We're limited to earrings and pendants in the non-silver. In the silver range, we do everything from cufflinks, bracelets, rings, earrings, pendants, money clips, a whole range, belt buckles. So there's a range of products we can create if they're set in silver. And the silver is also handmade. I mean, obviously every motif and every piece that is hand painted, and they're all unique. There are no two the same. But also the silver work, each piece I cut, I shape, the silversmith then has to wrap the silver. Each piece is a different thickness, a curvature. We cannot make a mold, so each piece is handmade. All right, next please. We have some more. There we go. This is a bracelet with the linzer mushroom. Again, interesting story about the linzer. There are apparently 4, and they say 1 causes irrepressible laughter. So I presume up there in the Wushu Mountains, there are those guys who could fly. Well, maybe they were tripping. Magic mushroom. But the linzer. Okay, next please. Cufflinks. For those who still wear long sleeve shirts and go to fancy outings. So yeah, this is one of the few specifically men products. We have men's rings and ladies' rings, but cufflinks generally for men, although I have had one lady who bought a pair for herself. This particular one has the swastikas. Next, please. Some more earrings. This is without the silver. So as you can see, it's just the ceramic. It's cut and the bail put through, and the hooks. In this particular one is from the rim of the lotus bowl. Okay, next, please. This would be a swastika. This the shape here, there's not a template. Some are freestyle cut, which basically if the shard already has a particular shape, I just continue to shape it and try and keep as much of the shard or the motif intact without wasting or destroying any of it. So not all are used cut with a template. Some are just what we call freestyle cutting. But each piece is actually cut and ground by me. Yes. Next, please. Maybe that's the last one. It was the last one. There you go. So yes, as I say, we have a large range of actual products. We also have a small gallery here in Sungai Ara. It's actually our living room and office has been turned into a gallery, and our living area is downstairs now. But people are welcome to visit here. Obviously, it has to be after NCO and all the lockdowns, and basically you need to just give us a call or PM us. In terms of contacting us or seeing more about our products, we are on Facebook under Ben Rongen brand or Krak creations. Krak being the type of porcelain, K-R-A-A-K, and it refers to the name the Dutch gave to this particular porcelain. Obviously, in the near future, we'll be part of Creative Brands Penang, and you'll be able to see and purchase our product there when we launch in the very near future. We do sell overseas. I mean, we have a distribution in the Netherlands, which is also looks after Europe, Australia, Taiwan. Was selling in the UK. I'm not at the moment. We were in the Oxford University Museum, but they stopped selling there because they have this issue in Europe about not bringing up things from shipwrecks, and this was authentic shipwreck artifacts, and they felt that they should have stayed on the bottom, but they didn't realize that here in Malaysia they will just be smashed and pulverized by fishing trawlers. As I said, in China we have a number of pieces, collections in the museums there, and there is talk of a museum being set up in Shanghai, which will be dedicated to all these ceramics from the 9 shipwrecks, and obviously our jewelry will be for sale there as well in the future. Books. Okay, there are a number of books written about the shipwrecks. This particular one is the One Li, but I think it's all back to front because that's sort of how it works on the computer, but it actually says the One Li. It's a huge catalogue of everything we found and the history. There are actually a number of books written about the shipwrecks and the archaeology. So, if anybody would like to know more, they could contact us directly through Facebook. Just PM me and send us a message if you like to discuss more or find out more, and I'd be happy to chat to anybody about history. It's a bit of a passion. I'm just wondering if there are any questions popped up.
Yes, actually, Ben.
Okay.
Just about time. Okay, I think there's a couple. I'll ask the first one from Ahmad Nadir. Are the jewelry only made from shards from the One Li ship or other ships as well?
No, only the One Li. It was the one that had all the broken pieces. There obviously were broken pieces on earlier shipwrecks, but these are an earthenware green glazed pottery. It doesn't have any sort of motives or drawings on them. Actually, they're very beautiful. I mean, the green celadon actually is supposed to emulate jade. Those days, I mean, Chinese loved jade, so it was more precious than gold or silver or diamond. So they created a lot of their ceramics or their those days earthenware, but with a green glaze, and it's called celadon. But no, I have made a couple of pieces for friends who love celadon, and if anybody, actually, I don't have many pieces left, broken ones. So no, basically our whole range is from the One Li shipwreck, 400 years old.
Okay, next. Okay, it's not so much a question, but a comment from Miss Jane Cunningham, who's just saying she's hearing you loud and clear from the UK.
Okay, hi Jane. Hi Jane. Yes, I know Jane.
Yeah.
Another diver.
And she requested that we put up the links to the videos and also the PDF presentation just now in our Creative Brands website. So that's something we will work with you after this to put them on to our social media, if that's okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay, this is another one from Mr. Andrew Gregory Young. This is what he said. I remember some of these jewelry was sold at Museum Negara in KL when they held an exhibition on some of the shipwreck treasures a few years ago. The museum might still sell them. Are they banned works? Are they your works?
No, I no longer sell at Museum Negara. They had a change of management in the shop, and we've had many shops, and we usually sell on consignment, and they come and they go. At the moment, We've closed most of our consignees because basically there are no tourists and it's a very limited sale. So we're hoping that through Creative Brands Penang, we can make the bulk of our sales. But if anybody is interested, they can always contact us through Facebook and ask some questions, and we can actually show them some pieces, and you know, we can do some business that way as well. They're always welcome to come if they come to Penang to come and have a look. Actually, David, I forgot. Maybe we could show that short video of the gallery, then people can get an idea of what they would see if they did come and visit us.
All right. Give me a moment. Marisa, later.
Well,
There you go. Yeah, ready.
Okay. Welcome to our home gallery. People are more than welcome to come and visit here. Just need to make an appointment by phone with us or PM us. But yes, after MCO, obviously. So these are some of the pieces, all from the Wan Lee shipwreck. Here we have some of our jewelry. This is the range without silver. Pendants and earrings and rings. Just a little close up. Some rings and earrings. These are pendants. We have a few other artifacts. These are the centers of the plates. These are some other ceramics from a 600-year-old shipwreck. There's a bit of a collection here. These are some of the books written by Stan, and just a mishmash of different ceramics. The green is a celadon, 600-year-old. These are the locations of some of the shipwrecks, probably can't see. And we have another section here where we have some more jewelry and some cut medallions. These are all for sale. Very limited because we are running out, and once we run out, we can't get any more. So these are mainly the centers of the plates, or we call medallions. Beautiful 400-year-old paintings, and I see them as paintings rather than ceramics. And like I said, it's just all hand painted. These are like auspicious symbols. We have a lot of scenes of birds, crickets. Yeah, just a quick look. Here we have a few more, the older ones. These are celadons. So these are 600 years old from the Royal Nanhai shipwreck. Some for sale, some not. And very reasonably priced. So there you go, our small gallery. If you're interested, please contact us after MCO. You're more than welcome to come and visit. All right, next section.
Okay, I'm back.
Thanks. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to mention if anyone's interested, there are quite a number of videos on YouTube. And if you look up Wan Lee shipwreck, or even my name, Ben Rongen, you will find a lot of links to videos that we've created either for History Channel or other documentaries made about the shipwrecks.
Yeah. Thanks for the walkthrough video, by the way, of your gallery. Just a follow-up from that earlier questions about the Malaysian Museum Department. I do understand that you work with the Museum Department for the recovery of this artifact from the Wan Lee shipwreck, right?
Yeah.
Was there a selection or curation? Was there a process that between you and the Museum Department on which piece of artifact went into their collection, into their archives, and which pieces went to you?
Sure.
Does the question make sense?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And that's a very good question. Okay, a lot of people wonder about how the process works. And basically, because we have a number of similar plates in terms of quality, size, motifs. So basically what we do is our sharing is 30% goes to Museum Negara, 70% to us. As I said, we finance everything, we do all the work, but 30% of everything we find, including all the one-off pieces, go to Museum Negara. So basically what we do is we set up on the floor somewhere in the warehouse stacks of 10 bowls or 10 plates, all similar ones. Basically, okay, Museum Negara, you go first. So they will take 3 of the best out of that pile. I get 7. The next pick, I pick 7 the best ones, and the 3 left over, Museum Negara. So it's a very amicable way of doing the sharing. And on the insistence of Stan, the archaeologist, he felt that Museum Negara should have all the one-off pieces. If there were one rare piece and there's only one of, it should go to the museum. Museum Negara probably have more than 100,000 pieces of ceramics from 9 shipwrecks. They obviously don't have the space to display them all. Reyes Yatin was talking about building a maritime museum. There is some talk of a maritime museum being built in Penang, through big city and the local government. We shall see. So we will be very happy if that happens, and we will certainly contribute and give all the help that we can to make that happen. That would be fantastic. Museum Negara has so much stock. I'm sure they don't mind putting it in the Penang Museum.
We're just about out of time, but I do still have a couple of questions, if you don't mind, Ben.
Yeah,
okay, you did present quite extensively the motifs and the patterns on the porcelain. Was there a native source that interpreted or explained the pattern? As in, how do you associate, certain patterns or motifs with porcelain?
These are all very well documented in China. I mean, all these motifs and their meanings, there are many books written about it. And these are all repetitive motifs that appear in Chinese art, engraving, carving, ceramics over hundreds and hundreds of years. And these are all quite well known. I mean, we work with China as well. We go to Jindajian, which is the town where where all this ceramic was made for a start, but it's the place it's the potting or ceramic center in China. And we work with the Jindajiang Ceramic Society and the universities there and the professors there. And, obviously we sell collections to China, to Chinese museums. So we have a lot of interaction with Chinese scholars who obviously teach us as well. Yes. No, we do our research.
Okay, 2 more questions. Second to last. You were a filmmaker before,
Yes.
and now you do this. Where did you pick up the technical skills of working with silver, for example, or working with the porcelain pieces?
Well, as I said, it sort of started as a bit of a hobby. I had
essentially self-taught.
I'm 100% self-taught. Even the grinding machine I have built myself. It's an electric motor and grinding wheels and water dripping on it. All this I've basically tinkered with and created myself. And but after cutting more than 10,000 pieces of ceramic, I'm pretty good at it. I still enjoy it.
By your work.
I enjoy it. But you asked me about filmmaking. I've actually decided that this year I'm going to go back to filmmaking, but it will be for YouTube. And me and an artist called Aku are going to travel around Malaysia doing paintings and visiting all the amazing places in Malaysia and sharing it with the rest of the world. So that's my plan for the lockdown.
Oh, that's a bit of a challenge now, isn't it? With all the lockdowns and the pandemic going on.
Obviously, Well, we start with Penang, and we'll start within 10 kilometres of my house.
Incidentally,
but, you know, the vaccines are coming, and we're very hopeful that one of these days we will be unlocked and able to do all this. But there's a lot of places to see. I love Malaysia. I love the East Coast. I lived in Terengganu for 6 years. I dive. I've just got a small sailing boat. I'm going to learn to sail. Lots of things. As I mentioned to Joe earlier, I'm only 64. I don't know what I want to be when I grow up.
incidentally, you probably half answered my last question, which is what's next for the Ben Rongen brand or craft creation?
Well, as far as our brand, in terms of what we're doing, my wife Joan is a fashion designer who ran Hagihara Fashion College here in Penang for 17 years, which then moved to China. And she, like me, I haven't made any films for a long time. She hasn't done any fashion for a long time. So she's actually thinking about doing a fashion range using the blue and white and, you know, the motifs. So stay tuned for that. Other than that, I started writing a book about it's called A Migrant's Tale. It starts when I'm 10 years old, when I left Holland to go to Australia. You'll have to wait for that one till it's finished. Maybe.
It's an autobiography.
Yeah, well, it'll be an interesting read. I've had an interesting life. It's not over yet. I've started painting. I started Chinese brush painting, but now I'm experimenting with all sorts of things. So, yeah, I like to try new things, and but I will continue to work with the ceramics, and we will continue to look for more shipwrecks.
Right.
That's the main thing. You know? There are hundreds, if not thousands, more shipwrecks being destroyed day by day by fishing boats. We need to find them and excavate them before they're all disappear under the sand. So it's a lot of fun as well.
Is it an issue of theft or proliferation of these artifacts?
Sorry, again?
I mean, how is it an issue that these artifacts were stolen or proliferated or disappeared in some way?
No, what I'm saying is that the fishing boats in Malaysia, they drag their nets on the bottom. So any shipwreck that's laying there that we haven't found, and we've only found 9,
right, yeah,
there must be thousands.
Yeah.
They're being smashed and destroyed and dragged all over the South China Sea. Eventually, the sand will cover whatever's left, and unless you have new technology like ground penetrating sort of sonar, it's going to be very, very hard to find them, and it's just lost history. You know, it's important that we find and excavate them and preserve them. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I think we're running about nearly an hour now. So anyone interested to learn more about your work, as you mentioned just now, your gallery, they can contact you in Facebook, Ben Rongen Brand or Craft Creation.
Yeah.
And I believe you also have a YouTube channel.
Not a channel, but if you go to YouTube and look up either my name or the One Lee Shipwreck, you'll see a number of videos. Maybe I can supply those links to you later, and maybe you can post them.
Sure. We'll
on
post them up in different Penang from time to time after this series. Okay, thank you so much, Ben, for sharing extensively about what you do. Very informative and very interesting. I'm sure it is for everyone out there watching this as well.
I hope so, and thank you guys and your team for your hard work. No days off for you this weekend, by the looks of it. So,
we still have three more episodes coming up.
I've just been very impressed with all the sessions this week and all the artisans, and as I said, I'm proud to be part of that group, and I've visited a lot of them, especially the parang maker, our wood carvers, and the pottery person, out of Craft Tangerang Pulau, Balik Pulau there. I mean, I look forward to the day where we all meet and show our wares. Very
after the lockdown.
I believe the group is just getting bigger, but fantastic talent and bunch of really nice people. So again, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ben, for your support. Have a good evening. All the best to you and the brand. Yeah.
Thank you. My tech support, Alvin. Yes, thank you.
Good night, Ben.
Good night.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.